Well, I've had ample opportunity to now spend time with both the Project Rock BSR, the original, and the Project Rock BSR 2 in the marble colorway. And I wanted to do a little bit of a comparison video to kind of give you guys the breakdown of what I see the differences are, and then a lot of the similarities that the shoe shares, because you can get them for the same price still, and sometimes you can get this with 20% off or this already discounted with another 20% off. So price will factor into it as well, but let's break down the differences and the similarities. Stay tuned. So quick look at the design and construction of the shoe. So with the original, it has that one-piece booty design, which is totally different from the way Project Rock BSR 2 is. So that's what's drastically changed is the upper. So it looks like mesh, but it's like a nylon polyester inner booty design, like this black material here. So it doesn't breathe as well as it may look, but it is pretty durable and it is extremely snug. Lockdown, it does have these midfoot straps in the lacing system with some fused material overlay for structure and durability on the medial and the lateral side to help with midfoot lockdown. Even though it is a booty design, it does help with side-to-side movements. You have the charged cushioning, which is a slightly softer EVA foam, which you can find on a lot of their budget running shoes, and with this being one of their budget training shoes, it just made sense. So it provides versatility with a lot of, impact protection, but it does compress under load, as you can see by some of the compression lines in it, with lifting, which we will discuss in a little bit. But it does feature their tri-base outsole, which has solid rubber, two different densities, a stickier rubber in the front and a harder, more dense rubber in the rear to constantly have contact with the ground when making lifts and doing different movements. And it does have decent flex in the flex grooves with a non-removable insole. Step-in comfort is solid with it, but the construction, I do like the fit of these, but they're not quite as comfortable overall in the upper. So when we take a look at, now when I say not as comfortable overall in the upper, this upper is a slightly more comfortable design. Here you see it's a multi-layered mesh with some overlays in higher wear areas, and for structure here in the midfoot, you have a midfoot strap on either side with some overlays for added durability. You have the same exact charge cushion midsole, TPU heel clip, and tri-base outsole. It is literally from the midsole down the same shoe. It's the upper that has changed because here you actually have a separate tongue design. So overall, this does breathe better. It does have a little bit more flex, I find, because it's a thinner material overall in the toe box, though it doesn't feel any less contained than the booty design of the original. The upper overall feels a little bit more comfortable. The one complaint I do have with the construction design of it is the tongue is nice. It makes it easier to get on and off, but when training, the tongue does start to slide to the side on both. It's not the end of the world. It's not a deal breaker for me, but it is nice to not have to worry about that with the booty design. I do tend to lean towards a booty design when it's available. I enjoy those a little bit more for training overall, but like today, I actually did plyometrics and calves and stuff like that with this shoe at the recording of this today, as a matter of fact, and they are cooler looking. I think from an aesthetic point of view, this is the nicer construction. I mean, the colorway definitely helps with this marble camo midsole and the shades of blue. But I mean, the actual upper, the white with the black, that's a smooth looking color in pictures. The all black, I think the redesign of the upper is a better aesthetic overall and a more comfortable upper design, as long as you don't mind the tongue slip to the side. I think the upper construction is better because the midsole and base of the shoe is exactly the same. That has not changed. Now we should go ahead and get the biggest con of the shoe out the way, which is lifting. So if you're the casual lifting type that's not lifting super heavy, sure, you can lift in these. squats, deadlifts, snatches, stuff like that. They do have an 8mm heel to toe drop. There is some added stability with this TPU heel clip going all the way around, but it will compress. You can see the compression lines there, and I have it on the other shoe as well, but I've worn this one more. So this one's lifted more, so it compresses. You will feel it. Once I get into the 300-pound mark with deadlifts and squats, I feel it in the heel. I feel it compressing. If you're going to do lighter working sets or you're not the strongest of person and you're just looking for general fitness overall, functional training and stuff like that, where you're not looking for personal records, hitting PRs and going as heavy as possible at all times, this shoe will be fine for lifting for you. If you're more of a hardcore lifter and you're all about hitting new PRs and you're pushing the envelope in the weight and rep range every single week, this is not a great lifting shoe. It's a solid overall shoe. This is more of a training shoe than a lifter's shoe. What I mean by that is this is better for side-to-side plyometric movements, light runs, sprints, agility drills, things like that. That's why you have this cushioning. It's more budget conscious. The price is a lower price point because it is their most affordable midsole foam, but it's also predominantly best used for running, so it's a softer cushion overall. It's not the most responsive, and it's not the most firm and stable either. So lifting, like I said before, if you're just looking for general fitness overall and you're not lifting super heavy, you're in the, staying under the 300-pound mark in all your barbell lifts, this will just be fine. But for me personally, once I surpassed the 300-pound mark, I started to feel compression in the midfoot and heel when I started to rock into my heels. Because it is a slightly higher heel to toe offset, it's not the best choice for lifting, but it will get by, especially if you're just doing working sets where you're in a higher rep range, not necessarily in a super high weight range. So like I was saying before, plyometrics, that's my favorite thing to do in both, okay? The one downside here with the BSR2 is you'll start to feel that tongue. This is where you're getting active, you're getting up on your toes, a lot of explosive movements. You're going to feel that tongue start to slip and slide. Like I said, it's not a deal breaker. It's not the end of the world. It doesn't matter how snug you tie them. It does have laces running through a loop in the middle of the tongue, but it does not stop it from sliding around. That is the only con I have about this shoe as a whole, besides the lifting potential for both of these shoes. When it comes to plyometrics and explosive movements overall, if you do classes, agility work, sprints, running, things like that, this is going to do very well. Both models are very good for that. Your foot will be a little less hot with the BSR2 because of the multi-layer mesh design, where you have a lighter overall upper construction that's a lot more breathable. So as far as your feet sweating, adding to foot fatigue, potential blistering, things like that, from excessive heating of your foot and moisture building up, you're going to be better off with the BSR2 in that instance if you do a lot of work like that, because this is just going to breathe overall. This shoe isn't going to be as warm and moist at the end of a high intensity workout, whereas the BSR will. It will absorb and hold on to a lot more of that heat and moisture because there's not as much ventilation. These holes are mainly there. I mean, it does help a little, but see how you can't see through that because it's a one-piece design that has this nylon polyester. So it doesn't really breathe. It's very contained. This is a more contained fit overall versus the BSR2, but this is where the improvement from the original to the follow-up can be found, is the mesh does breathe a lot better. They both do fantastic with plyometrics. You'll see the compression lines. I mean, they do compress, but your joints will thank you because the rebound here is not as responsive as a Micro G, but the overall pain-free feel that your joints will have over the long haul will be better with this because it's a softer cushioning overall. It's not meant to be super responsive. It's made to protect the joints with impact resistance. So I think for plyometrics, you're good with both. But if you do a lot of stuff like that where you're really going to have some sweaty feet, I think that's where the BSR2 would be the better choice overall for the ventilation. Casual bodybuilding. One thing I forgot to discuss was flexibility when lifting. I'm sure I had already played the calf raising footage from today's workout, but the flexibility is just fine here. That's something that I think is understated sometimes when it comes to lifts, because when you're focusing on calf work and things of that nature, flexibility in the toe is really going to matter, so you can really get up and get flex, especially when you do toes in, toes out, and stuff like that, to really work the outer portion of the calf, the inner portion of the calf. I think that really matters, and there's just enough flexibility in both of these because it's the same midsole and outsole design with the same exact flex grooves. So it does. They both provide just enough flexibility. Now, casually walking around day to day, these are a great shoe for that. Because of that charged midsole, it has all day long walk around comfort, 8-10 hours, depending on what your job setting is. If you can wear shoes like this, if you can wear sneakers, training shoes, casual shoes, whatever have you, they're both going to be just fine for that. If you're going to be on your feet all day, like I said before, this does breathe a little bit better with the multi-layer mesh versus the one-piece booty design. But it's going to come down to an aesthetic type of thing overall, because they're both very comfortable. They're both very grounded and planted. They have enough stability to get through a variety of different things because of the tri-base outsole, with enough flexibility and cushion because of the charged midsole and the upper design to be comfortable throughout your day. So step-in comfort's very good, impact protection is very good. It's a pretty high stack overall without being as high as a running shoe, which would be in the 12 and 13 millimeter and beyond heel to toe offset. You have a nice balance in between with an 8 millimeter heel to toe offset here. Working the cables on the benches, obviously, it's not really going to factor in what shoe you have. It's more about the casual, everyday feel, and then the aesthetic overall. I personally think these are some good-looking shoes, regardless of colorway, every colorway. Personally, I think the red and the white are the two best-looking colorways for the original, and then I think this marble colorway and the white with black two-tone are the best-looking colorways for the BSR 2. I think they're good-looking shoes, honestly. From a comfort and aesthetic point, I think they're great for everyday use. So now it comes down to pricing breakdown. So when I got these, the BSR 2 wasn't out yet. I got these with 20% off directly through Under Armour for $80. Had I waited another week, they went on sale for $80, and I could have used the 20% off then and got them even cheaper. So some places have them for $80 still, that's before any coupon code. So from a pricing standpoint, if you don't need the added breathability of the multi-layered mesh that the BSR 2 has, I say save yourself some money, because this is pretty much the same shoe with a tongue and more breathability. That's really the main differences from the BSR 2 to the BSR. So if you can get this for $20, $30, $40 cheaper than the BSR 2, I say still go with these if they appeal to you, because you'll save some money. Now, if you want the latest and greatest, of course, you're going to pay a little bit more. I think aesthetically, these are a nicer looking shoe. These kind of balance off of the look of the Project Rock 4, because the Project Rock 4 has that multi-layer mesh upper, so this looks like the budget version of the Project Rock 4. So it made sense. I understand why they went this route. It ties into the line as far as the budget conscious kind of team version, if you will, of the Project Rock 4. So I think if you want the latest and greatest and these just look better to you, they're going to perform pretty much the same as the BSR. You're just going to pay a little bit more. Overall, you can sign up through Under Armour and get a 20% off code when you become part of the team. Welcome to the team, as it says in the email, and you can get these for $80. And I think for $80, this is a damn good overall versatile training shoe. It really is. If I had to pick just one between the two, I'm going with this exact shoe right here, the Marble Colorway Project Rock BSR 2. I think this is a damn good budget shoe. Not the best choice if you're the type that does functional lifts, CrossFit style workouts all the time. And when I say CrossFit style workouts, if you're doing actual CrossFit where you're going through all the motions, yeah, this is a solid shoe for it overall. Just horrible for rope climbs because there's nothing on the sides for it. You'll burn this midsole up. This is more of a cross trainer than a CrossFit shoe. Difference being CrossFit is a specific style of fitness routine, whereas cross trainer is more on your toes agility drills. Not really so much about lifting, but can work fine in a lifting setting. Doing legs, doing squats, long as it's not too heavy. Leg presses, you're totally fine. Hack squat machines, things of that sort. it's just fine. I think it's a great budget option overall. Not the best budget training shoe option out there. There are a few others that I'm still looking to test in the near future, and some that I have already, like the Flash Film Train 2.0, whereas I think that's a little bit, it's cheaper, but I think from a lifting perspective, it's a little bit better shoe. But as far as plyometrics and running, this is the better shoe. So I think that's a solid budget buy. I would personally go with the BSR 2 over the BSR. Even though I prefer the booty style a little bit more, I like the breathability and the aesthetic look of the BSR 2. And until next time, do me a real quick favor. Go ahead and like, comment, subscribe. So I do appreciate all the feedback, and I love hearing from you guys. Do you own either one of these shoes, or is this video helpful in pointing you in the right direction of which maybe is the right BSR model for you? Having owned both, I do enjoy both. I will continue to wear both. But honestly, I think I'm going to wear the BSR 2 just a little bit more. I did some plyometric work in the BSR and some lifting, and then I did some more plyometric work in the BSR 2, and I got to say, I actually enjoy the feel of the upper just a bit more in the BSR 2. And like I said, aesthetically, they're more pleasing to me. I love the colorway. I love the design of the midsole, and the mesh just looks better to me overall. And until next time, I will say, if you get your hands on either one of them and you give them a try, implement them into your training, who knows? You might end up thanking me later. Have a good one, guys.